Hey everyone. After being buried in work and life chaos the past few months, I am finally coming up for air. Now that I have a moment to breathe, I am excited to get back into creating content and connecting with all of you. A surprising number of people have asked for a tour of my craft room / office, specifically when I was posting more regularly on TikTok. And I'd love to show y'all around, but the honest truth is that it's become a complete disaster zone in here. So instead of waiting until everything's perfect, I thought I would just take you guys along on this organizational journey. This room is command central for all three of my businesses, and trying to make everything function within such a limited space has been a challenge. What makes this space unique is I'm working with a dynamic disability. Some days I can stand, reach, and grab things off a high shelf, move around freely, but most days I'm really limited to what I can reach from this chair, and that's a crucial consideration in reorganizing this space. After living here for exactly a year, I've learned what works and what doesn't. I have some big bins on the shelf behind me that just get way too heavy to pull out and dig through, and my gorgeous fabric shelf has become a glorified dumping ground. And my biggest mistake was not leaving any flex space for new materials and in-progress projects. I'm about to transform this creative chaos into a functional space that works better for my disabilities. Let me show you the current state of things, and then we'll dive into the overhaul. Ready to see how a former professional organizer tackles her own mess? Let's go. This is the current state of my office. I have the curtain drawn so I don't blind you guys with the evening sunset. I don't even know what's going on with this closet. I mean, come on. But like I said, the last couple months, I've just barely had the bandwidth to keep my head on straight, and things have just gotten kind of out of control. I'm gonna start moving some things around. I have a completely different piece of organizing furniture to go in here. So I'll be taking all of this stuff out, and I'm going to use this guest room. We don't have anyone coming to stay for the next couple weeks, so I'm just gonna take advantage of this extra space and stack a bunch of stuff up on the bed to clear it out of my office so that I have room to work and organize in here. As you can see, this closet has become a catch-all for everything that didn't have a dedicated home. When you live with dynamic disability, having an organized space isn't just about aesthetics, it's about independence. Being able to find what I need, when I need it, without having to ask for help is crucial for my mental health and creative flow, and this current setup just isn't working. Things get lost, forgotten, or become inaccessible on my bad health days. So my goal with this overhaul is to create a system where everything is visible, accessible, and most importantly, sustainable for my fluctuating abilities. Hey look, it's my wedding dress! I had this custom made by an amazing seamstress, and it cost me less than $700. I love this dress and would love to be able to wear it again to a fancy event in the future, and saying that is partially me manifesting being able to go to fancy events in the future. This dress is 100% silk. Maybe I should try dyeing it with natural materials. Should I make a YouTube video about possibly ruining my wedding dress by trying to dye it with indigo or onion skins or something? Anyways, let me walk you through my plan for this space while I continue to clean out this closet. The first major issue here is accessibility. I need frequently used items within arm's reach from my chair. Second is visibility. If I can't see it, I forget I have it, which leads to buying duplicates or supplies that sit in a bin for years. And third is flexibility. I need to accommodate both new supplies and in-progress projects without creating chaos. For the closet, I'm planning to use a storage system with smaller, lighter bins that can be easily accessed with one hand. Each bin will have a specific purpose, and everything will be clearly labeled because my brain fog has not been playing well with the "I'll remember what's in there" approach. The real challenge is making a space serve so many different purposes. This room isn't just my craft space. It's where I run 3 businesses with completely different needs. One minute I'm filming content, the next I'm shipping orders, and then I might be developing new product ideas. That's a lot to ask from 120 square feet of space. For my desk area, I'm creating zones based on how often I use things. I'm keeping some of the wire file holders for certain items, but I'm going to add more of the 9x12 and 12x12 paper organizers that have been working really well for me so far. I find that having supplies visible but contained helps my creative process. I'm also implementing a new rule. Anything new coming in means something old must go out or at least be properly stored. No more stashing things wherever they fit. Every item needs a designated home that makes sense for how I use it, especially on days when my mobility is limited. It was at this point I realized I should just remove these bifold doors for the rest of the project, and I'm a little miffed I didn't think of it sooner. I struggled off camera for actually an embarrassing amount of time trying to get the first door off, but after watching a YouTube tutorial, they actually come off pretty easily. I moved both doors into the guest room and we'll figure out what to do with them later. If I put them back on, I need to give them some sort of makeover, both for aesthetics and hopefully also something that makes them less annoying. I didn't get to choose where the closet went in this room, and while its location makes sense when you take the guest room closet into consideration, it's kind of a pain to have bifold doors behind the entry door. Maybe I'll get rid of them completely. Who knows? Anyways, they're gone for now. Yay! Being mostly housebound means this room isn't just a craft space. It's where I spend the majority of my waking hours on moderate and good days. It needs to function as my office, creative studio, and often my dining room when I don't have the energy to move to another part of the house. This is command central for all three of my businesses. For macleansmyth, I need space for filming and editing videos, room for packing materials, and a shipping station. Milkfetch Merch requires inventory storage for my clients and space to process custom merch orders. And Crafting Coven involves product development, sample making, and workshop preparation, which can take up the whole room during the weeks I'm getting subscription boxes shipped. The challenge is making all these functions coexist in harmony while accounting for my unpredictable energy levels. On good days, I might be up filming tutorials or shooting product photos. On moderate days, I might only manage to answer emails from my chair. And a well-organized space means I can still be productive regardless of how my body decides to cooperate that day. Yay, the closet is finally cleaned out! Oof, that took forever. Can you believe how much stuff was crammed into that little closet? Okay, now it's time to build the first thing I ordered from IKEA for this project, which is a Trofast organizer. I actually already have the bins that go in this. I ordered those a while ago and was using them on the shelving unit that was in the closet before and on one of the bookcases. I decided it made more sense to put them in the piece of furniture they're meant for, and luckily you can buy the furniture part without the bins. You can also buy it with the bins too. IKEA is pretty good about offering options. I'm hoping that using these bins in the right piece of furniture will make them more useful overall, and I'm going to be using mostly the smaller bins this time around so they don't get so heavy and hard to manage. I usually don't mind putting together IKEA stuff, but I think because I've already kind of overdone it tonight, this thing was kicking my butt. Puppy break. This is Odin. I really should be calling it a night, but for no good reason I can come up with, I'm going to try and get one more thing built before I head to bed. I definitely don't have the energy to build the second big Trofast unit for the closet, but I think I can handle the smaller Trofast unit I want to hang above my computer. This is one of IKEA's natural pine pieces, so I'm wearing a mask while I assemble this since the phenols in pine irritate my respiratory system. This piece is relatively easy to put together, although I did take a lot of puppy breaks during assembly. I'm hoping this little wall unit will help me keep my desk clearer while still having important supplies within reach. One thing I've learned about managing creative work is that visible progress, even small progress, is incredibly motivating. Finishing this piece tonight means tomorrow I'll walk in and already see a tangible improvement, which will help combat the overwhelm I'm feeling with my space being completely torn apart during this reorganization. Alright, I'm definitely feeling the effects of overdoing it today. As much as I want this done immediately, pacing myself is non-negotiable. It's a couple days later. I really overdid it the other day and actually spent the past couple days in bed with a pretty bad flare. 2 days in bed with a flare is pretty good for me. I feel pretty good that it was only 2 days, but I'm gonna try to listen to my body and take the rest of this craft room organization even slower. So the plan for today is to build the other storage piece that goes in the closet and try to get the closet put back together, or at least somewhat put back together. And then I've realized I do need to paint this little wood piece that I put together that's meant to go above my computer. The pine is bothering me more than I expected, and painting it will just seal all those pine allergens in. And then I've also realized I do need to take all of the black wire file holders off the wall behind me and just completely reorganize that whole wall. And I'm gonna try really hard to stop there for the day. I'm using Palm Leaf by Sherwin-Williams for this project. It's an olive green with brown undertones that I've chosen as one of the main accent colors throughout my house. I like how it pairs with my other key colors, which are shoji white, a creamy neutral with like subtle green-brown hints, and cordovan, which is a muted burgundy. Together they give me that early American aesthetic that I'm drawn to. I'm almost finished color drenching my laundry room in cordovan. That'll be another video coming soon. And I'm also filming a tutorial on how I painted and stenciled an IKEA Tarva dresser, also in cordovan. I have plans to use palm leaf in other areas of my house as well. Eventually I'll use it on my stairs, some built-in bookshelves I want to add to the living room, and possibly my kitchen cabinets. These three colors serve as a through line in my home and help make my eclectic furnishings and styles feel like they belong together. I'm taking down these wire file holders from the wall because while they look nice, they're not functioning optimally in this spot, and I need to reclaim this wall space for a small shelf that will work better with my new desk layout. They're not bad, they just need a better location to serve their purpose. I'm also adding more of these 9x12 letter slots to my organization system. They're perfect for keeping paper and documents separated but visible, and this area is within easy reach of my chair, which is essential for my workflow. Visual organization like this is really helping compensate for my brain fog. The wire file holders on this side work well for me, but since everything on my desk is moving a little to the right, I need to take these down, repair the wall, and rehang them a few inches over. I'm taking the time to properly fill these holes and touch up the paint, even though the stuff on the wall might cover most of it, because these small acts of care for my space make a noticeable difference in how I feel working here. It's not just about appearances, it's about creating an environment that feels intentionally crafted rather than hastily assembled. Now I need to hang the small Trofast unit on the wall, and to make it extra secure, I'm adding some extra L brackets so it doesn't crash into my computer below. Once it's mounted properly, I'm applying a final coat of palm leaf green paint, and for a cleaner look, I'm also painting the tops of the L brackets with the shoji white wall color so they blend into the wall instead of standing out. Getting my computer wall to this point took a lot longer than I expected, so I'm going to stop here for tonight, and tomorrow I'll pick this project back up by organizing things in these mesh baskets to go up on the wall, and then the computer wall will be done except for a different lamp and some art, so I'm going to stop there for now and try to get the closet finished tomorrow, and then I'm going to start tackling this wall with all of my fabric and some art supplies and stuff. See you tomorrow! Building this second Trofast unit is going a bit faster since I've already assembled one, but I'm noticing how much more these physical tasks drain me now compared to before my health changed. That's one of the hardest things to adjust to with chronic illness. My brain still remembers what I used to accomplish in a day, and it sets those same expectations despite my body's new limitations. No matter how much cognitive work I've done to accept my new normal, I'm still hardwired to my pre-illness capabilities. It makes pacing incredibly difficult when your internal benchmark is so disconnected from your current reality. The frustration of having so few usable hours in a day never quite goes away, but I'm learning to celebrate smaller accomplishments and to be more realistic about timeframes. What's also interesting is how my relationship with these organizational tasks has changed. Before getting sick, I'd tackle a project like this in maybe one energetic weekend, but now it's become this careful dance of activity and recovery. I've had to learn the difference between productive pain, like the good kind of sore after a workout, and the warning signs that I'm pushing too far. Sometimes I miss that feeling of just powering through a project, but there's also something to be said for this more deliberate approach. I'm definitely noticing details and making more thoughtful decisions than I might have when racing to finish. It's been a few days, but I am back to continue this craft room organization. All of the pieces I bought from IKEA have been put together and put where they go, which is great. That was taking a lot out of me physically, so I'm glad that part of the project is done. And now we're moving into arguably the hardest part of this whole process, which is taking everything out, reorganizing it all, and putting it away, hopefully tidier, easier to find, and with more flex space included. Once that's done, I have a couple shelves to hang above the door frames for my miniature room scenes, and then I think that'll be it for this video. I will do a more in-depth craft room tour in the future, but before that video, I need to finish the art for this wall. I have a light fixture that I want to make to replace this lamp, and I've only made one curtain in here. I need to make the second curtain for the other side. And then I think that's it before I can do an in-depth craft room tour. And then I have some other projects in this room, like giving a makeover to the dollhouse bookcase behind me. I want to do something with the bifold closet doors, and there'll be lots of stuff that comes up over time. Okay, before we get into the time lapse of reorganizing everything, because no one wants to watch that in real time. I don't even really want to do it in real time, but it has to get done. I want to show you two things real quick that I bought for this room. I used to work at Urban Outfitters many moons ago, and I don't typically shop there these days, but every once in a while when they have an extra 50% off sale, I will buy a couple of things. So for this room, I bought these bow curtain tiebacks. I love cottagecore still. I'm still really leaning into cottagecore, so these were like $7 and I think they're really cute. So I got these, and then I still need a hook for my purse backpack thing. So I got this tomato wall hook. I've been obsessed with tomatoes as design for a couple years, and it seems like everyone else is too, which is great because, again, this is 50% off, already marked down. So I'm gonna hang these two things up, and then we'll get to organizing, and that'll probably take a couple days. I was originally gonna hang this here, but I don't want my bag hanging over my light switch, and I don't want to put it all the way up here because then when my bag's not on it, that's a lot of negative space. So I'm gonna kind of nestle it in like here, like that. Now it is finally time for the big organize, taking everything out, sorting through it, and arranging everything into its new home. I'm filling these mesh baskets for the Trofast units, making sure each one has a clear purpose, and I'm also adding these hay color crates to replace the Trofast mesh baskets that were previously on the bookshelf behind me. I love how these color crates sit flush with the shelves and stack really neatly, and as a happy coincidence, I actually found them on sale. I got them at Finished Design Shop in my Milk Fetch merch brand colors, which makes my color-loving heart very happy. I both love and hate this part of organizing where everything gets really messy before it ends up freshly tidied. Right now it looks like a tornado hit this room. Supplies are everywhere, piles are sorted by category but don't have anywhere to go yet, but I know from experience that this chaos is necessary before reaching that satisfying final stage where everything has its place. I'm trying to group items by both function and frequency of use. All my paper crafting supplies are going together, all my adhesives together, and so on, but within those categories, I'm making sure the things I reach for most often are the most accessible. One trick I've found helpful is to leave some empty space in each area. It's tempting to fill every inch, but that just leads back to cramming and stacking, which doesn't work for anyone. And having some breathing room means I can actually get things out and put them away without a major production. I'm also being pretty ruthless about what stays. If I haven't used something in over a year, or if it requires more physical effort than I typically have available, it's probably time for it to find a new home with someone who can put it to good use. Now I'm moving on to all things fabric in this room and reorganizing my antique wormy chestnut cabinet and my large hutch. I've decided to take all the antique quilts and these beautiful blankets crocheted by my grandmother-in-law and move them into another antique cabinet I have in my bedroom. While they make a beautiful backdrop on my Zoom calls, there's just no space in this room for completed quilts and blankets unless they're ones I plan to cut up and make into other things. As far as this big hutch goes, I want to prioritize leaving the table part mostly clear, since that's where I often have in-progress projects, and I want everything on the shelves to be easy to see and grab. My goal is to avoid this turning into haphazard piles that all come tumbling down when I need a piece towards the bottom of the stack. We are in the final stretch of the big organize. I just need to do my uncle's old glass front bookshelf and then take care of all of the things that are left over. As I reorganize this bookshelf, I'm going to work in all the books that are currently living in the dollhouse bookcase, since I want to give that bookcase a makeover pretty soon. As is often the case with reorganizing, I've rediscovered so many books and supplies that I'd forgotten about, but I also discovered a couple of duplicate items, and I hope reorganizing helps me avoid spending money twice in the future. This reorganization project isn't just about tidiness for me, it's also about creative rediscovery. When I can actually see what I have, it sparks new ideas, and I've already planned a bunch of new projects just from books and materials I've rediscovered while organizing. That alone makes all this effort worthwhile, even when my body protests at moving one more container. For the final part of this phase of this project, I'm adding shallow shelves above both door frames, about 8 feet of 8-inch deep shelving in total. This often overlooked space is perfect for displaying completed projects that I want to see but I need out of my workspace. These shelves will showcase my collection of miniature room kits, projects that were instrumental in my recovery journey. When I was completely bedbound and being told it was time for hospice, these tiny creations helped me rediscover my love of crafting in a way that was accessible even on my worst days. Being able to see them daily is both inspiring and a powerful reminder of how far I've come. There's plenty of extra space on these shelves, and I'm excited to fill them up with more miniature projects and maybe a few DIY lamps since it's kind of dark up there. I'm also hanging a little shelf above my light switch to hold completed projects I want to feature more, and for a little flex space for random bits and bobs. I'm definitely feeling the physical toll of this project now. What would have been a simple afternoon task before my illness has become a multi-day marathon with lots of rest breaks. Installing these shelves has particularly wiped me out, and I'm really glad to be done for now. And with that, this phase of my craft room organizational overhaul is complete. I'm really happy with how functional the space is now, and that I was able to keep most of my furniture in the same spot and just rework what's on the shelves. I still have a few more things to do before I can record an in-depth craft room tour, like finishing the art for my computer wall and buying or DIYing a few more lighting fixtures, since I mostly work and film in this space after the sun goes down. I'm really excited about the idea I came up with to replace the lamp I have up here by my computer, so keep an eye out for that tutorial. Oh, and I've also had an epiphany that the bifold closet doors should never come back, so I'll be making curtains for the closet when I make the other curtain for the window. I have several other projects planned for this space down the line as well, and the beauty of this current organization is that it gives me a foundation that works with my dynamic disability while still leaving room for the space to evolve as my needs change. If you enjoyed this transformation and would like to see more of my projects, please subscribe to my channel. I currently have 2 craft tutorials up with a lot more to come, as well as home projects like this one, information and product reviews about creating a less toxic living space, and even some content about how I'm making homesteading and gardening tasks less labor intensive and more accessible. Okay, let's take a look at where we ended up on this organizational overhaul, and thank you for joining me on this journey.